Hello and welcome to another episode of The Savvy Entrepreneur. Today we'll be speaking with Katie Woslager, who is a senior manager at the Office of Economic Development and is in charge of the AI grant program. We'll be discussing the AI grant program as well as other initiatives that her office offers to businesses here in Colorado. Without further ado, here's Katie Woslager. Katie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Tallis, for having me on the show.
And of course, no problem. We're excited to have you and to talk about the Colorado AI grants. So, what are the Colorado AI grants?
Well, the Advanced Industry Program is a really exciting state program that allows Colorado companies to scale and grow their Colorado footprint. There's 7 industry sectors that we focus on specifically: advanced manufacturing, aerospace, bioscience, electronics, energy, natural resources, and that includes clean technology, infrastructure engineering, and technology and information. And really, the goal of the program is to help commercialization, encourage public private partnerships, and increase access to early stage capital.
That's great. And how long has this program been around?
So, this program started in 2013. So, we're going on close to 7 years now.
That's nice. How many millions of dollars have you guys distributed?
About $84 million to date.
Wow. Do other states have this type of program, or are we kind of unique in that?
So, Colorado, I would say, is a leader in providing these types of grants. In fact, the Brookings Institute has done a study on the Advanced Industry Program and how it injects capital into the state. I think there's similar programs across the country, but it more or less matches federal funding. So we're sort of the opposite way. We give the state money and then you have to match it with outside capital or other federal funding.
That's a great point. So it's not just free money. You have to show that there's an industry adoption before you guys commit to giving funds, right?
Right, absolutely. So part of the objective of the program is that each of the funding opportunities have a matching component. So for example, for our early stage capital and retention, we provide companies with $250,000, and you do have to match that with $500,000. But that can come from a number of sources, such as venture capital funding, angel investment, SBIR funding, or any federal funding that you may be receiving.
So what are the different stages that companies have to be in order to apply to this program?
So there's 3 different funding opportunities. So one is proof of concept, and that is in partnership with our university tech transfer offices and research institutions. Federal labs are also eligible, but that's just that initial R&D stage where you are maybe building your prototype. You're going through an entrepreneurship program at your research institution where you're doing customer discovery. And to qualify for that, you can apply for up to $150,000. You do have to work with a university researcher, though. And then our second stage is early stage capital and retention. And at that stage, you have to at least have a prototype built or an MVP. So you can be pretty early in your development. We try to build a balanced portfolio. So we see companies that are pre-revenue, companies that have raised some capital, some that are have their product in the market, some that are still working on getting that traction. And for, again, early stage capital and retention, you can apply for up to 250,000 with a $500,000 match. And then lastly is our collaborative infrastructure funding, which is really our large scale projects. And that's, they're typically public private in nature. There's multiple collaborative partners involved, and we want to see a really strong sustainability plan. And those, again, are large scale projects. So you can, the minimum award could be 50,000 all the way up to 500,000. And of course, it's a 2-to-1 match as well. So if you do request 500,000, you have to have $1 million of cash. But with those collaborative partners, it's people do come together to raise that level of funding.
But how many companies every year receive this type of funding?
So we do this twice a year. So the grant cycle is July to September, and then again January to March. And each cycle, well, annually, there's about 40 to 50 companies that are funded. And then for proof of concept, we have about, I would say, probably close to maybe 75 applications.
Wow, that's a good number of deal flow that you get.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the application process. What type of information does an entrepreneur have to have in order to apply to this program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ultimately, the way that the application is structured is really similar to if you're going to go out and raise money. We like to say that this is sort of a first step to prepare you to raise money. It's just not as intense as diligence with an investor, but we request information, regarding an executive summary. We ask specifically about your product and technology, your IP strategy or your IP portfolio, your exit strategy, your traction in the market, customers, competition. We look at the makeup of your team. And of course, this is a Colorado focused grant, so we are looking at the benefits to Colorado. So we're looking at job creation, job retention, any third party capital that you're raising or leveraging into the state, as well as any capital investments that you're making, such as equipment or maybe moving into a new building.
Super helpful. So a company would need to have their ducks in a row essentially to apply.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the application is structured to ask thoughtful questions so that, if for some reason you don't know the answer to the question, at some point in time, you're going to have to be able to, be able to explain your business model or your value proposition. So it does prepare you for those later questions that you are going to receive as an entrepreneur if you're working with an investor.
Absolutely. What kind of resources are available for people who maybe have a disability or are trying to put their application together and are having issues?
So, I'm always available to help answer questions. I'm actually non-partial in the review process that we go through, so I can't give you specific feedback of, is this a good response to the question? But I can give you a high-level overview of, how the review process works, what we're looking for in the application, how to structure it. We do partner with all of our trade associations in each of the seven respective advanced industries. They're member-based organizations. They have a number of different events. They have mentors. They have, entrepreneurs and, service providers. So those are great resources to go to socialize your technology to them, get involved in the network and the ecosystem. I can't emphasize that enough. There's always someone that has gone through a similar challenge as your company may be facing, and they can help you. And outside of that, the Colorado Small Business Development Center is also housed within the Office of Economic Development and International Trade, and they have different resources as well that they could, potentially help you.
So the AI grants don't take equity. Why don't they take equity?
Yeah, so the purpose of the program is to provide non-dilutive capital to, companies. The state doesn't really have a mechanism to take an equity position in a company. And so we do have the Venture Capital Authority, which does have, a few different funds. So we'd have to move it into sort of a quasi-governmental agency to be able to take an equity position. But, again, I think the beauty of the program is really that non-dilutive path for companies so that they can, take advantage of it with, this initial injection of capital. It really helps them scale and grow their company footprint. And then, we're not involved in that their cap table and all of that. So, well,
Yeah,
and
that's
actually, it's a nice leverage for investors as well. To see that okay, here's the state stamp of approval. We're willing to step in, and then they can take that equity position. And honestly, a lot of our companies are pretty early stage, so we haven't seen an exit yet. We've certainly seen a few different successful acquisitions, which we think are wins for the state, but no one's quite ready for a big exit yet.
Hopefully one day.
Hopefully one day. But that certainly is a mechanism to return money to a fund for sure.
So that is something that you guys have considered or might consider in the future?
Well, it's not anything that in the immediate term that we're looking at. We certainly early on in the program did talk about that mechanism, but just after different feedback and stuff, we determined that keeping this structure and this framework has been successful for the state.
Oh, it has definitely been successful. So congratulations on that. But not only that, within the Office of Economic Development, you have several other very successful programs. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, sure. So one program of interest would be for investors, and that's our Advanced Industry Tax Credit Program. So a qualified Colorado investor can get a 25 to 30% tax credit up to a $50,000 investment into a company. It's an annual program, and there's only 750,000 of tax credits that are available. So it's first come, first serve, and it's fully exhausted by the spring. So I encourage everybody to get involved in that as soon as possible, and it's on a current investment. So the way that it really works nicely with the Advanced Industry Program is those companies that are applying for $250,000 say to their investor, hey, like if you invest in my company, you can receive this tax credit program. So it's a really nice fit.
So do investors have to apply for that, or do companies apply for that?
The investor applies.
So if it's an out-of-state investor, would they be able to park their money here in Colorado and get a benefit?
It's only qualified for Colorado investors.
So they have to be a resident of Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
That's a great way to bring investors out here.
That's right.
Katie, what other things does the Office of Economic Development do?
Thanks, Tallis. So we do have 9 different divisions within the office. So we have the Colorado Small Business Development Center, we have the Colorado Film Commission, Creative Industries, the division that I work under. Oh, and in addition to that, the Outdoor Rec office. But Global Business Development, which is the division I work under, we're also responsible for the recruiting of domestic companies and foreign companies to the state of Colorado. And we do provide a number of different programs to those companies should they be eligible and qualify and provide them with a tax incentive to set up their headquarters here in Colorado.
And those are some pretty extensive opportunities and tax credits that you guys are offering, right?
Yeah, and the amount does vary. It is based on job growth over either a 5-year period or an 8-year period. So again, the tax credit could varies dependent on a robust process that our business development managers go through.
So if you hear that and you're outside of Colorado, consider Colorado for your next venture.
Absolutely. We're always looking to grow our advanced industries here in Colorado and our other industries as well. And part of, I think what's great about Colorado now is that we have diversified our economy, which has allowed us, I think, to recover out of recessions a lot faster than other states based on their economies where they don't have a diversified pool of industries across their state.
That's a very good point. I think a lot of people don't realize how diverse Colorado's economy is. Do you want to discuss that?
Well, we see a lot of growth in the tech sector. So, and in part of why the Advanced Industry Program was created was to again help build out the ecosystem across those 7 industries and help continue to diversify our talent here and our companies as well.
I mean, one of the sectors that I'm obviously most interested in is aerospace. Do you want to talk about how massive the aerospace industry is here in Colorado?
Well, it's huge. There's, a number of companies that work with, the federal government, and with U.S. Space Command looking at, coming here. That's an exciting opportunity for the state of Colorado and our aerospace sector.
Thanks, Katie. Before we leave, do you have any parting words or asks for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just quickly want to remind everyone that we do this advanced industry application process twice a year. So, we're about to close our current grant cycle on September 1st, but our next application will open on January 1 of 2021 with a March 1st deadline. So, we encourage everyone to apply. Again, great source of non-dilutive capital that can help your company scale and grow. And then, in addition to that, we're always looking for a diverse pool of talent, of reviewers who review our applications across the 7 advanced industry sectors. I think perspective is really important. We like to have diverse backgrounds, whether you're a serial entrepreneur yourself, you're an investor, you're maybe an attorney, or you're just involved in different organizations that would help you be successful in reviewing our applications. We're always looking for new people, so happy to have you contact me, and we can get you involved in the program.
Great. We'll put the link below. And thanks so much, Katie, for your time today. I appreciate you sharing this great information with our audience. And if you're out there and you are an entrepreneur looking for a new home, please consider Colorado. And until next time, stay savvy.